Hey guys, this is John here in Los Angeles with the Alpha Channel update for Wednesday, November 20th, 2024. And we're going to start with the Conflicted card as usual, Conflicted Deck 1. I noticed yesterday some of the comics were out of the frame. I'm going to try not to do that today. This is the Two of Hearts. This is really the card that started it all. This is there's chaos in the streets, all hell is broken loose. I think that's literally what it says. And you don't have enough food, water, ammo, or anything. No, you never do. You can't own enough. You cannot own enough supplies to replace society, okay? Just quit dreaming that you can. Even if you're Nate, Canadian prepper, who's literally wholesaling preparatory gear to everyone, what good is the world without the world? It's not the world anymore. It's just the jungle. So, if the jungle happens and no one wants to set up a community, no one wants to do the group thing, it's every man for himself, what are you going to do? I am in a situation in my life where no matter what happens right now, I win. So, if the world continues the way it is, I'm fucking happy as could be. I was drawing today. I wrote a great chapter yesterday. I am as happy as it gets. I could have a lot more money, yes. I could, I suppose, have more beautiful women in my life. I'm doing fine. I'm not struggling. So, let's do Tarzan number 16. I believe this is 16. Yeah. Tarzan, Lord of the Jungle by Marvel Comics. This is funny. I pulled out yesterday's. This had been put back in the bag and board and put back in the box, but I pulled it out to point this out. Our Jew guest writer here, David Kraft, down at the bottom, who went so far as to have himself credited as an author. I remember reading this yesterday and thinking, this little fucking smarmy little kike called himself an author. I don't think Roy Thomas has ever called himself an author. Even the issues that he wrote, a lot of his stuff is adapted from Edgar Rice Burroughs or adapted from Robert E. Howard, but he always says writer because you know who the other writer is on the team? The artist. Especially if you're doing Marvel method. You're not a fucking author, Mr. Kraft. Marvel corrected this shit right here on the next issue. Words. David Kraft, words. I would never call myself the author of the story that I'm writing right now. The characters were created by my friend Jay, and he came up with the concept. All I did was take his characters and his concept and work a plot into it that he requested, utilizing devices he requested. I'm not an author, and that's the comic book that we're working on right now. That's not this, and this. I am the fucking author. I am the single creator. By myself, all me, all my idea, all my characters. But the stuff I'm working on now, I'm a writer. There's a difference. There's a significant difference. And as a guy who uses words for a living, Mr. Kraft should have fucking known better. Should have known better. And I wonder, this got me thinking today, I wonder if this was presented to him as a novice or a journeyman's trap by as he's an apprentice, and this was done by the veterans who should have been mentoring him. I wonder if they offered him, see, he's not the letterer, right? So did they offer him the credit? Did they say, hey, what do you want it to say on the box for your name? He said, oh, put author. But you're not the author. And they didn't correct him there, and so next month he got words. He should have asked for writer. He should have had some humility. Sometimes when you're young, it's hard to know when to have humility and when to ask for a raise. Now, if you're default aggressive, you earn a reputation as a selfish, self-centered prick. And a lot of people are. If you're default humble, you will be eaten alive by the industry. Every creep, every person who wants to exploit you, every son of a bitch with an agenda will come out of the woodwork and find you and get you to work for them for free. And that's foxes get bullied, lions get trapped. You need to know how to be both. The wolf with the pack, or the lone wolf, wolves get trapped and wolves get bullied all the time. So tigers, I don't know. Every animal has its there's a way to get everything. There's a way to get everyone. No one lives forever. And in this one, we see some of that. This is a continuation from the last episode, number 15. Starts off with treachery. I noticed something in here. So Klaus Janson is not just the inker, he's also the colorist in this episode. We have him to thank for this pale blue Tarzan in the foreground. I really wish that Tarzan was colored full because that is a great figure display by John Buscema. But he's in the shade. He is eavesdropping literally from the eaves of the trees. Although the eaves are the doorways, but he's in the boughs. He's bow dropping. He's listening from above. Tarzan is hidden in the bush. And he's paying attention to these. These are the Western mercenaries who are on their way to kill the mad Arab and rescue Princess Aisha. And they are very 1970s type fellows. Tarzan now understands all white languages because Mr. Kraft gave him a superpower. Look, Tarzan did learn how to read without any instruction because he is a really smart white guy. All white guys are really smart. We built civilization. And here, these white guys are not so smart. And they're a little too crafty, a little too clever for their own good. They are talking about how a member of their party has stayed behind to hunt and kill Tarzan's elephant, who is on the front page of this episode, Tarzan's friend elephant, Tantor. They're all called Tantor, but this happens to be Tarzan's friend, this elephant. And this guy, Simon, English mercenary, is going to hunt and kill that elephant. Tarzan hears them talking about it. But as you can see, I'm going to try and make sure this fits the frame. He is not fast enough to rescue his friend, nor is he fast enough to rescue the apes, who are also sharing the water hole with this elephant, and also get shot when they object to the white man killing their friend. If you've ever watched some of the farm videos on YouTube and watch how playful the goats and cows are with their human providers, the word domesticated means something. And then recognize that all those animals were once wild. And deep down inside, they probably still are. Dogs are still wolves. Cats are still cats. A lot of people you know are fucking wild and uncivilized. Domestication is just a word we came up with. Do you understand that? Now, yeah, you can see it in some animals' coats when they become black and white and no longer camouflaged, but it's not what we're talking about here. So here, one of the monkeys gets killed. Tarzan swings into frame. Oh, and I wanted to point this out. That is a Spider-Man pose. That is Conan doing a Spider-Man pose. It's an adolescent Conan. Tarzan is an adolescent Conan. And John Buscema is drawing him with the same flexibility as Spider-Man. And look, I got to play hockey last weekend, and if I were to draw this, people would say it's narcissistic. And it would be, and that's what I'm going to do with my skateboarding kids. But also, I was thinking about today, my Desdemona character. I have to figure out, I'm going to base her on the little Audrey stories. So it's like Desi goes to the fair, or Desdemona goes to the fair, and she's going to be Johnny the homicidal maniac, but a female. And so here we get Tarzan, one of the apes who's been shot, wakes up and finds Tarzan on the scene and attacks him, and Tarzan has to explain that he's not your enemy, he didn't do this, please help me find and catch the Tarmangani who did this. Tarmangani is the word for white man. Kriga is the word for beware. I've been reading, this is 16, and I'm starting to say Kriga. Like it's, fuck, look out. Like, what the fuck? And, because it's everywhere. Tarzan says it all the time. And so here he has to, this ape's name is Dan something, and he has to fight him, Doc Dan or Dan Doc, and he has to get him to calm down, and then convince him to come with him and go hunt the Tarmangani who shot Tantor and his friend, the other ape. And, oh, check this out. Klaus Janson is using Ziptones. I counted at least 7 panels and 10 instances. This page has a couple. Looking at right here on Tarzan's back, he uses it extremely sparingly. I went through the book and looked for every instance I could find. There's that one on Tarzan's back. There's another one coming up. It's a lot harder to see without my glasses. But there's not many. There's one panel that has a few. It's like on a cup and a few different things all at once. I'll see if I notice it, I'll point it out. But this panel up here at the top of this page with the Ziptone on Tarzan's back, Klaus Janson uses it very sparingly. And I have to imagine back in the 70s, that shit was probably expensive as fuck. It's like liquid gold. Oh, and I wanted to say for this, the best prepper supply you can get if you're in an urban area, start stockpiling honey. It is literally liquid gold. I'm not going to explain it, just go look it up. I'm looking for if there's any on this page. Okay, I also have to explain what's going on. So in addition to the Ziptone, which there's at least 3 other instances on these 2 pages, you can find them, or I can point them out to you. I'll hold this up for a minute, and then we'll point them out at the end, see if you find them before I point them out. But what's going on here is Tarzan and one of the apes have agreed to go look for Princess Aisha and the Tarmanganis, who have gone to rescue her from the mad Arab, who is running a quarry up ahead. So they're chasing the Tarmangani, who are heading toward, they're chasing Simon specifically. They already met the other Tarmangani. But here, the mad Arab has a quarry and a harem where he keeps the women. He doesn't make them work in the mine. Right now he's challenging Princess Aisha. He ends up telling her to go get cleaned up and blah, 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 and he's not going to beat her. But there's at least 3 other instances of Ziptones. One of them is down here on the, where is it? Yes, this curtain in the back on the bottom panel. It's just a little bit, but it's, there's another bit on a cup that he has in his hand. Okay, so there's a few. Tarzan's back in the second panel, top row. Tarzan's leg, third panel, first on the second row. The curtain down in the bottom panel, and the cup down in the bottom panel on this page. That's 4 instances of Klaus Janson using Ziptones, which is, I think in some ways, look, way back then, Ziptones had a stigma attached to them unless you used them carefully. And look at how carefully he does. Most of those panels, you wouldn't even notice it. Tarzan's leg one almost got past me. And the cup, this cup down here is such a tiny use of it. But it's like the curtains. Why spend all the time to actually crosshatch that? I hope I'm doing this justice. I'm really apologize if I didn't. Go find one of the million sites where you can look at old comic books for free. There's more of it in here. This panel. Okay, so on this page, Tarzan and the apes. Now they were talking about this, the white guys, the mercenaries, that they have these gliders that they're going to use to reach the quarry from the mountain, the ridgeline. And here they are up on the top of the mountains where Tarzan has finally reached them. Tarzan and the ape. And Tarzan and the ape get in a fight with a couple of the mercenaries and steal their gliders. And the other all the mercenaries have guns, and so now they have an aerial dogfight on these gliders. The mercenaries are shooting at Tarzan, the mercenaries are shooting at the mad Arab's men, and everyone is shooting at, everyone's shooting at Tarzan. But there's also the guys on the hills who were left behind who are shooting. And here, the Arab is still conversing with Aisha. He wants to make her his harem, slave, mistress, girlfriend. And one of this bottom panel down here has Ziptone on the curtain, on the water vase. I know there's the amphor. And then on the 2 cups, there's Ziptone down here on this bottom panel. Sorry for moving it right when you were looking. God, I hope I'm holding this in frame. Fingers crossed. But so anyhow, not much really happens. Tarzan fights with these guys and blardy-blardy-blar. The Mad Arab, though, convinces Princess Aisha that she will share food and drink and salt with him, that's some Arabic custom, that then they can be peaceful with each other. And as soon as she does that, he drugs her with the food and the drink, the coffee, whatever it is. But yeah, he basically drugs her. There's a drug. You guys should check out this video from Vice. I'm not going to put a link in the description. Maybe I will if I remember, but I've been fucking lazy lately. There's a video from Vice called The World's Most Dangerous Drug about devil's breath in Colombia. It comes from the borrachero tree. It's a version of scopolamine. And borrachero scolopina, I think is the name of the tree. And it makes this drug that as soon as you... God, why am I spacing on the name of the drug? As soon as you inhale it or something, you become like a mind control slave. It can give you a heart attack if you get too much of it. It's almost like Datura. It shuts off your memory, so you don't remember what happened, and it makes you highly suggestible. So once you become under the effects of it, people can tell you to go give them everything in your bank account, give them everything in your apartment, and you don't remember it. And it's happened to a lot of people. Borracheros Salvatrucha? No, that's not right. That's that gang. That's Mala Salvatrucha. But it's called The Devil's Breath. It was a Vice documentary back when Vice used to be cool, down in Colombia. And so here, Tarzan, the Mad Arab is drugging this girl, and right before he rapes her, he's actually going to sacrifice her. He's going to take her down into the mines where they found some special chamber where the slaves have, and he's going to take her down there and sacrifice her. But Tarzan and the other glider mercenaries are invading the camp, and everyone's firing at them, and the Mad Arab goes outside to see what's going on. He decides that he doesn't have time for this. Ain't nobody got time for that. Here's a good Tarzan ad where it brags about David Kraft being the writer. Get out of my culture, Jews. You're not welcome. We're going to do everything by invite only, and none of you will get through the vetting process. I'm not going to fight with you on Twitter all the time. So here is the guy who killed Turok, who killed Tantor the elephant. His name is Simon. And Tarzan is chasing him. And the ape crashes down into a tent where he is unconscious, but he lives. His glider gets shot. I believe that's in one of these pages. Tarzan himself follows Simon. Simon flies his glider into a cavern. Now this is a quarry, a mountainside quarry, so I suppose this is possible. Or a canyon quarry next to a mountain range. So Tarzan and Simon both fly their gliders into the mountain, and they arrive where the Mad Arab is having his ceremony, his sacrifice, and he is walking Princess Aisha through a portal to some other dimension, and Tarzan and the Arab and Simon and everyone ends up going through the portal, and we don't know where they're going, and we won't find out until next month, because that's the end of the episode. John Buscema, masterwork. Every issue he works on is a masterwork. I've noticed that a lot of these, well, no, this still has a lot of panels, but this is only 6. What is this? 9. But those bottom panels are so sequential. Like it could have been one, the bottom 4 panels could have been one long panel probably. So yeah, Tarzan number 16. Other than the fact that it's written by a scheming Jew, it's really as good as it gets. And he didn't inject any of his politics in this one. No words of socialism. No gay little digs. No little ad hominems like you're so broke you couldn't afford to pay attention. That's such a Jew sort of thing to say. God, I hate them. Legacy of Mad Scientist, Legend of Ashley Fox, back before I was red-pilled. Awesome, awesome science fiction audio books, science fiction fantasy audio books. We also have a comic book, Ashley Fox Last Valkyrie, Ashley Fox Ninja Babysitter, out here in the description for you guys. What do I want to talk about? There is some things I wanted to talk about. I had said the other day that there aren't really any new white writers. That's not true. Mark Greaney, who does the Gray Man series, B.V. Larson, who's doing Undying Mercenaries, Richard K. Morgan, these are all writers I read. So it's just gotten harder because of the Jew control of the media. Like what Chuck Dixon was saying, where having worked for a Jew publisher for 20 to 30 years, he automatically writes anti-white concepts into his work. He has to work hard to not be a white-hating piece of shit. So that's most of these institutional writers. That's who they are. It's hardwired into them. They can't help it. So in terms of this, this Tarzan stuff, the writer versus the author, right? You are a writer as a part of a team, a part of a creative team where you have an artist and a colorist and a letterer, and it's all work done together. There's no author credit on a film. There's screenplay by, there's story by, there's collaboration, there's all, there's that kind of stuff, but there's no author. There's original story by or based on a story by. So a writer is a part of a team. You only get to be an author when you do the whole thing by yourself. I'm an author. Might be a self-published author, and that, I suppose, in this market is a distinction without a difference, as far as I'm concerned. I suppose there's obviously a big difference in that you get marketed if you have a publishing team behind you, and you get proofread, and you get someone to talk to about the work. Like that actually goes a long way. So, but what I wanted to talk about was this. The other thing that was bugging me about this awards show that they put on. And I'm not going to hammer home this idea of the 2.5 year thing. That's been beat to death. But I do want to say this. One of the things that one of my animation instructors said, he went up to the board on his first day of class and drew a big circle, and he said, how long did that take me to draw? And some people said half a second, second, whatever. He said 44 years, 3 months, 27 days, and however many hours. Because that's how long I've been a professional artist, working at drawing a perfect circle. So when it comes to doing an award show, how do you do that? Because some artists, and now here's a crazy thing, like a lot of these artists are new and in their 20s and up and coming, and then you're going to have new artists in their teens. It's like skating, right? You've got kids at Tampa Am who are kids who are a little older, kids who are better, so you can only rate the performance, because when it comes to comics, you've got guys who've been doing this all their lives, up against people who've been doing it for a few years. And now you're going to have guys like me and Jay who come in, who've been doing this all our lives, but really only focusing on it for a few years. So how do you rate our work? You can only rate it by what you see presented. You can't say, oh, well, he's this old and he's had this much time to work on his ability, his skills. Now, how do you compare someone like Ethan Van Sciver and Matt Barr? They're not even in the same league. It's not even the same fucking sport. What do? You throw your hands up in the air, don't do an award show, do your own fucking comic. There's an idea. All right, see you guys tomorrow.